What's up, everyone? It's Lance Johnson, the host of See Through, and today I'm talking about how gender roles affect men more than women when it comes to being visually impaired or blind or disabled. And to start this topic off, I want to talk about what I recently saw when I was eavesdropping on my wife watching this show called Before the 90 Days. I think it's part of like the 90 Day Fiance series on TLC. And there was a couple on there called Chidi and Renee. And Chidi is a blind man living in Nigeria. And Renee is a sighted woman. And she specifically was into Chidi because he was blind.
When I met Chidi, after he told me he was blind, I felt kind of relieved, like, oh my God, I don't have to be so self-conscious anymore. It allowed me to feel closer to him than anybody I had ever been with.
Because if you could see, I wouldn't be here.
And I personally think that it's because she wants to control him in ways and that he'll be dependent on her for certain things. It's kind of creepy to me. And I'm not going to go deep into their dynamic on that show. I don't watch that show. But I did find it really fascinating that was kind of a storyline on this season between those two characters and how much blindness played a part in their dynamic as a couple. And that got me thinking about the dynamic between men and women when it comes to blindness and when it comes to romance, because typically I feel like it's the other way around. What I'm basically saying, and I guess this is, if there's something controversial here, this is what it would be, is what I'm saying is that a sighted man is more likely to not mind dating a blind woman more than a sighted woman is likely to want to date a blind man. For example, you know, let's say you're a sighted man and you have a Tinder date and she's legally blind or blind. A man is more likely to basically be like, oh, I don't mind this dynamic, you know, because I think of myself as a provider. You know, I'm the man. I like the idea of me getting to lead in a relationship or guide my wife through a crowded room, you know, be the driver, you know, help more, be needed, be needed in that way as kind of a person who is, you know, leading the relationship in that way. And I just think that that's more likely to happen than the other way around. Whereas you're a woman on a Tinder date and your date shows up and he is blind. I feel like the woman is more likely to be turned off by blindness than the man is. And it's not that women are not empathetic. It's not that they care less or are inherently bad in that regard. And again, this is just in general. I know this isn't true for everyone. And a lot of people don't even care about traditional gender roles. But I'm talking about the people that do, because there are a lot of people out there who still, you know, adhere to traditional gender roles. But yeah, I just feel like if you're that woman on the date and your male counterpart shows up and he's blind with a white cane, your brain's going to be like, okay, well, he can't drive. How would he protect me if I was in danger? Those types of thoughts. You know, I think even feminists, and I'm saying a lot of controversial things, I think even feminists deep down love the idea that if they have a male partner, that male partner provides a physiological strength that they don't have and can potentially protect them in those ways, even if it's not said out loud. And I'm just saying that having a disability or living with blindness is a clear disadvantage to men. And it's a disadvantage to women too, but I think that it's more of a disadvantage to men who want to feel masculine and want to present themselves in a masculine way to potential romantic partners. And I think it's harder for women to accept the tweaks to these ideas when they encounter a blind man in that way, in terms of thinking about them in a romantic way. Some would say just buck the system, you know, who needs traditional gender roles? Be who you are. Be the best version of yourself and find somebody who wants you for you. And that, I agree with that. I think that's true. But let's not deny the fact that these ideas of what a man and woman should be have been baked in through years and years and years and years and centuries even. So it's kind of hard to deny their plausibility and how they affect people in their real day-to-day lives and how people are viewed and how people are treated and the expectations of you and the expectations of a man and the expectations of a woman. And I just feel like it's easier for a woman to be blind in a dating relationship because a man is more likely to be more into the idea of like guiding a woman through a restaurant because it's dark than it is for a woman to guide a man through the restaurant because it's dark. And these are things I struggle with. I have retinitis pigmentosa. I'm not legally blind, but I've lost a good chunk, and my night vision has suffered from it. I get guided through crowded rooms from my wife. My wife drives me everywhere. I don't have a driver's license, and when it happens, my wife's great about it. But deep down, I'm like, I wish I was the one driving. I wish I was the one guiding. And that's just something that I'm dealing with. And I think it has a lot to do with this kind of idea that's been kind of shoved into our brains since we were born through TV and whatnot. As flawed as, gender roles can be, it does work in women's favor more in the case of blindness and disabilities. But then again, on 90 Day Fiancé, Chidi and Renee were the complete opposite of this equation. So it goes both ways. And I'm just talking about what's statistically more common in this scenario. And I think typically it's the other way around. I think it's men pursuing blind women. Let me know if you disagree with me or you think I'm just out of my mind here, or if I'm like way off on this, or am I right? Let me know in the comments. I want to know more about this topic and what other people think about it. And thanks for listening, and I hope you subscribe. I also have merch for sale. Cheers.